Well, tonight on Newsnight, just as we have in the past, we pick a subject matter that many of you have been asking us on social media, both on Twitter and Facebook, and both of you contacting both Andrew and myself on Twitter and asking us to probably discuss this. It's the matter of procedure and why Andrew, in most instances, whether it's with the Katose deal or even NSSF's acquiring of Meme shares, has tried to say, can we avoid procedure and actually acquire without, going through this headache or pile of procedure that sometimes delays or even most times does frustrate the efforts for organizations or companies in Uganda to do their work efficiently. That and much more on Newsnight. Welcome back. The old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda, who's also the CEO of the Independent magazine. Andrew, just yesterday and previously, we've continuously discussed government's inability to do good business. And when they even do good business, we have critics, whether they are members of the opposition or people from the civil society, who have said, for you to be able to do that good business, you actually flouted some rules. And you're clearly one of those that advocate for throwing away the rule book and saying, let's deal with the devil.
That's
Why?
not true.
Why?
But then I should make it like this.
Yes.
I actually believe in procedures. If you come to Independent, a company that I manage, we have procedures there. My point is that procedures are not an end in themselves. They are means to an end. You should never get bogged down by procedures and forget the end they are supposed to serve.
Yes.
That's a very important beginning point. That the procedures and laws can never be a substitute for common sense. Where procedures, a strict adherence to procedures is likely to lead you to achieve a result contrary to what you are seeking to achieve, then you must rely on common sense. I'll give you an example. When they were procuring a road, not to mention it, a company bidded. And one of the requirements on the bid was that you had to have a person from the Uganda Engineers Association with his CV in your documents. This company had bidded for 67 million euro. The next competitor was 80 million euro. They disqualified the 67 million euro company. Why? Because the man whose CV they had been the chairman of the Uganda Engineers Association the previous year, but this year when he submitted had not yet renewed his membership. Because he had not renewed his membership, the company was disqualified and Uganda paid an extra $13 million. Do you think that is right? Because they were strictly adhering to procedures. That's how Changomacho Obanda in 1980 was disqualified from being a member of parliament, running for parliament, because at that time the law said to run for parliament you must have a certificate of proficiency in English. Changomacho had studied in England a master's in land economics. He had been a lecturer at Makerere University. When he arrives in Busia to be nominated, the nominating officer, the returning officer, was his student at Makerere University. Said, what is your certificate? You don't have it, you're disqualified. But here you are employing the rule to defeat its purpose. You know this lecturer. You can even write a personal recommendation and say, look, he was our lecturer at Makerere University. He studied in England. He speaks fluent English. He did not need a certificate of proficiency in English.
Yes.
So I am saying that rules and procedures are very important. Where they threaten to undermine the objective.
Yes.
They must be subordinated to the objective. They cannot be an end in themselves.
Yes, but in these instances, and I want to quote what we've been discussing in the last few days, both the acquiring of the Meme shares and the project, the Katosi Road project, where you have basic rules and SOPs, which every organization should have, that before you award a company a contract, you should do due diligence, and you haven't done due diligence. So
I think that was a serious breach.
Yes.
I think for UNRWA, that was a serious breach. The UNRWA leaders must be punished. But right now, you can, under the law, the company which signed the contract is fake. The contract must be cancelled and must be sent for retendering. If you go to retendering, it will last you 3-4 years and it will cost 3 times the price. In that case, you must suspend some procedures and allow direct procurement of the service so that you are able to achieve the service in time. By the way, let me explain to you this.
Yes.
Another thing you see, Maurice, me, I'm opposed to, people call me and ask, why are you opposed to the IGG who is fighting corruption, the parliament which is investigating corruption, yet you, Andrew Mwenda, you say you are fighting corruption. I have learned over time that the way to understand corruption in Uganda is to understand the ways of fighting it.
Yes. You
see, when they were investigating NSSF, the investigating officers from the IGG's office went to Richard Byarugaba, the MD at that time,
yes,
and asked for a bribe.
Yes.
So the only way they were willing to kill the investigation was by him bribing. You see those members of parliament, they're heavily indicted. One of the reasons they're investigating UMAM and NSSF, they want to induce those two institutions to buy them off.
You have no evidence about that.
But I have a lot of information, please.
Yes, but you have no
let me tell you this, Maurice.
The MPs are just doing their job.
They could be doing their job, but they know that they are leveraging their constitutional power to force every day they force civil servants to go and pay bribes to them. So the best way to fight corruption in Uganda is actually to undermine institutions of oversight. You can't believe the contradiction, because you see the institutions we have of fighting corruption in Uganda did not organically evolve out of our political struggles. They organically evolved out of Britain, Switzerland and Netherlands. They were transplanted here as best practice, but they are not socially rooted in our system. So they are subject to abuse. Even the mass media in Uganda are complicit in this corruption.
Finally, Andrew, I know the Doing Business report is out, and I think I saw some figures. I know Rwanda is about 62nd position in the world, and the nearest country
54th.
to that, 54, and the nearest country to that from the region, I think, is Tanzania or Kenya, which is 100 and something.
Yes.
Let's discuss that. The fact that Rwanda has removed all these loopholes and procedures.
Not loopholes, it has removed layers and layers of procedures and
that you have to go through to actually do business in that country. Is that what you're calling for? Are you saying let's
you have hit the point right on its head.
Let's reduce this whole paperwork and procedure and this layer of stuff someone has to do to actually acquire a job or a bid to actually do the final project.
Yes.
And then let's have
what I'm saying
our systems work. Let the IGG do her job, let the Solicitor General do their job.
I'm saying we should have a complete review of our procedures in order, one, to simplify them, two, to make them easy to understand. You see right now they're arcane, they're convoluted, they are confused, they are mutually self-contradictory. So the best way to do is, first, review all the procedures in procurement, remove 80, 70 or 60% of them, simplify them, and then once you have simplified them, the biggest protection you can put there is public officials should be held accountable for the results of their work. If the achievement of the main objective can only be realized by sidestepping certain procedures, it should be accepted if the result is what is sought.
Well said, Andrew Mwenda. And that discussion, unfortunately, brings us to the end of Newsnight this week. But if you want to continue this engagement, you can write or tweet Andrew at Andrew Mwenda and also myself at Maurice Mugisha, and the discussion continues online. That was Newsnight.